This explainer. Today, we're unpacking what is easily one of the most fascinating and notorious stories in American business history. We are talking about Enron. It's a massive tale of greed, power, and deep deception. Because, once upon a time, Enron wasn't just another company. It was literally one of the biggest, most powerful corporations in the entire country.
Imagine a company so incredibly successful that absolutely everyone bought into the hype. We're talking investors pouring in their life savings, employees betting their entire careers on it, and even top government officials trusting every word they said. It was hyped up as the ultimate American success story. But, as we'll see, behind all that monumental success was actually a massive, systemic lie. So, let's get right into part 1, the perfect corporate illusion and the peak of Enron's success.
At its absolute peak, this company was worth billions and billions of dollars. And, its stock price seemed to completely defy gravity, just going up quarter after quarter. On paper, their profits looked absolutely incredible. To anyone watching from the outside, this was an unstoppable financial juggernaut that was basically reshaping the global economy.
Wall Street absolutely loved them. They were hailed as incredibly innovative, the undisputed kings of energy trading, and really just the ultimate symbol of modern corporate business. Analysts, brokers, financial media, they all completely swallowed the narrative. Enron's leaders were famously hailed as the smartest guys in the room, and everybody wanted a piece of that seemingly perfect corporate machine.
But that brings us to part 2, hiding the massive losses and the truth behind the success. While Wall Street was completely dazzled by this rising stock and billions in perceived value, the reality was entirely different. Enron actually wasn't making the money it claimed to be making. Instead, they were burdened by massive, hidden financial losses, propped up by totally fake profits and just drowning in rapidly mounting debt. That public success? It was basically a carefully constructed mirage designed to hide a very dark, very messy reality.
So how exactly did they keep this illusion going for so long? Well, they built this highly sophisticated deception engine using some incredibly complex accounting loopholes. First, they systematically hid their massive financial losses. Then, they literally created fake profits out of thin air to illegally pad their balance sheets and make those earnings look spectacular. And finally, they moved massive amounts of their debt completely off the official corporate records into these complicated special-purpose entities. For years, this perfectly tuned engine kept investors blindly confident, and that stock price just kept climbing.
Which leads us to part 3. The truth leaks out and the illusion cracks. Because no matter how complex your accounting tricks are, an illusion of this magnitude just can't hold up forever. So what happens when the truth finally leaks? Well, it doesn't happen all at once. It starts slowly. Financial analysts began doing something they hadn't really done in years, asking tough, persistent questions. Soon enough, reports surfaced exposing glaring, undeniable inconsistencies in those perfectly crafted financial statements. And as those questions got louder, Enron's most valuable underlying asset, investor confidence, started to crumble. Moving on to part 4, the devastating stock crash, and the panic begins. Right before the drop, Enron was trading at over $90 a share. Investors were riding high. They were absolutely confident they held this rock-solid, incredibly valuable asset that would secure their financial futures for decades. That $90 mark was truly the absolute pinnacle of their meticulously crafted lie. And then, the bottom completely fell out. Panic spread like wildfire. Institutional and retail investors alike rushed to sell their shares in this desperate, uncontrollable frenzy. In a matter of mere weeks, that $90 powerhouse went into a terrifying, rapid freefall, dropping to almost zero. The entire financial foundation of one of America's largest companies literally evaporated into thin air.
But the real story here is about more than just abstract stock charts. We have to look at part 5, the cost of deception and the human toll of the collapse.
The fallout was absolutely tragic. We aren't just talking about vanishing market caps. Everyday employees didn't just lose their jobs. Because their retirement accounts were uniquely tied up in company stock, they lost their entire life savings overnight. Whole futures completely vanished. Billions of dollars were completely erased from the broader market. And while the executives who architected this disaster were eventually investigated, exposed, and faced criminal charges, the collateral damage was already done. It was the everyday workers who paid the absolute heaviest price.
This was a deception on a massive, massive scale. It's absolutely crucial to understand that this wasn't just a case of a business trying its best, hitting a tough market, and failing. Not at all.
It was an intentional, highly orchestrated, systemic fraud operating from the inside out.
The Enron story serves as a permanent reality check for the financial world. It proves that numbers can be easily manipulated, no matter how official or audited they might look. It shows us that immense success can be entirely faked, and it proves that trust, which is the fundamental bedrock of our entire market system, can be broken overnight. It really exposes the extreme fragility of the system when unchecked greed and power get to dictate the rules.
It leaves us with one profound, chilling truth to remember. In the world of money, what you see is not always real. Behind the billions and behind all those glowing Wall Street reviews, Enron was completely hollow. So it forces us to ask a pretty difficult question. When you look at the massive corporate successes dominating the news today, are you seeing reality, or are you just looking at another perfectly crafted illusion?